Hello, so we're gonna be doing a similar project like this, where we're gonna be doing a garage project for a client that's gonna be added to a house, similar to this in many ways. This is a reference project, was done back in 2018, but we're gonna make a new version of that for our new client. So what are the steps that we do? Well, the first thing that I need to do is to create a new project, and I do it using our template. In fact, the first thing you do really is find the project on the project folder. So this is L'Oreal Street, I believe it's the name of the address. If a project wasn't created, I'll have to create one. Nope, we do have one. So 10 L'Oreal Street. I'm gonna open the Revit model real quick. I'm gonna of course delete these template elements that keep making themselves. So we're gonna open that one up. But before I open it, I always like to rename it. So I'm gonna go here, 21 187 10 L'Oreal Street, Garage Addition, 6/15/2021. Great. Double click it. So then it's gonna open in Revit, and it's gonna be a blank canvas. So while that opens, one thing I like to say is that before I get started on the drawings, I like to know what information I have, and also what is the goal. What am I supposed to get done? So, and that goes along with these sheets. Like, what sheets do I need? So I'm already thinking, okay, yes, I will have a title sheet and a sheet list. I may have one life safety plan. I will not have all of these ones. I will not have this civil engineer plan. I don't think so. Yes, I'm going to have, well, I'm not going to have much of any existing. So I'm going to delete all the existing except for one, because I think I'm going to have a site without the garage and then a site with the garage. Then on demo, there's not going to be any demo. You don't have to delete it. I do it because I like to have everything clean. This project is not going through our flow design process. It's just literally going to go right into construction documents. So I'll delete all that stuff that I won't need. It just makes it easier and cleaner to work with. Okay. So proposed site plan, great. Proposed floor plan, great. I'm going to delete the other proposed floor plan because I don't need it. Proposed roof plan, sure. Interior elevations, nope, I won't need interior elevations. Interior elevations are needed mostly if you are going to be elevating something like cabinets, a bathroom, elements like that. You wouldn't need it for any of that. Sections and partitions, maybe. Reflective ceiling plan, maybe. But to be honest, I won't even put that in there. I won't even do a finished floor plan like that. Finished floor plan is like what finish is gonna be, the floors and things like that. I won't do that. Coordination plan, I won't do that. I'm gonna make this as simple as possible. In fact, some of these sheets, I might find out that I can combine them into one or two. And it's always good to go through a reference. Although our reference project is out of date. It's outdated. So we only had a cover sheet which wasn't even well done, and we have a floor plan, and we have elevations and sections. Again, this was back in 2018. It was a quick little project, no major elements, about it. So, in fact, our address wasn't even it was 47 Bridge Street. We don't even live there anymore. So that's how old this is. So we're gonna go back to here, and things I like to do. Well, first things first, I want to call this the proper project name. And the project name is always like the address, so like 7 L'Oreal Street, Garage Addition. That's good. Who is the client? So for that, you will go to the project proposal, and you'll find the client's name. And then once you find the client's name, you will put it in there. So this is the proposal. And the client name, it will be it's the contractor is the client. So on that case, I'm just gonna call it the client right here, Mr. Actually, let's just Mr. Rene de Andrade. And okay, so I'm gonna put the project address is what I'm gonna use in here, and it's going to be again 10 L'Oreal. I see that I do it always capital, so I'm gonna do capitals. Just see the capitals throughout. Just make sure everything's capital. 10 L'Oreal. Oh gosh, L'Oreal Street, Sagos. So 10 L'Oreal Street, I like it to be on its own line. So I enter and say Sagos, comma, Mass 01906, and that way it's gonna show up on the second page like that. So this is how you write an address, like very nice like that. All right. I guess sometimes I want the client's name to be all capital, honestly, because that's a standard architecture standard. So at least on our office, so we'll do it like that. Andrade. Okay, so we won't have any consultants on this project. Maybe there is a survey, but you know, in that case, if there is a surveyor one, so I'm gonna delete this one. I like to immediately reformat this so that it looks appropriate. So I'm gonna make these guys into 3 because I'm only gonna have 3, and I'm definitely going to move the consultant down here, move the architect down here, and the Onyx stays just as it is, and it just looks a lot cleaner. What is it?
How do you make it 3?
So well, I just so there were 4 lines. I deleted one, and then I did DI, which is dimension, and I selected these, and these, and I said equal, and it divides it into 3 equal spaces. And then I will delete that, and then I can just drag that text down somewhat to look appealing. I like to ensure that the distance between the text and the name look good. And here I'm gonna just write surveyor because that's what we probably have in there. And then I'm gonna load it, and I'm gonna say, actually I like to say load and close. So I'm gonna load it into L'Oreal. Great. Do you want to save the changes? No, it's just for this one project. So overwrite existing version. Great. And now that looks much better. We have 3 boxes and it looks great. All right. So on that, and then the other thing, so you already have the address here, the name of the client here. That's great. I like to also do the changing here for consultant, but it's not critical for this project. But you know what? I'm not gonna be lazy, so I'm gonna say here surveyor. I don't have the surveyor's information just yet, but once I get it, I'll put it in. And literally what I do is I grab this guy and move it down and write the name of the surveyor in big. And if they have a logo, I'll put the logo. So it's okay. So that's that. And I just say close, overwrite existing version. That's okay because it's overwriting the existing title sheet. I wanted to. It's all good. No problem. Another thing I do, I make sure that this project number is updated because this is just a sample one. So it's 2111A7, 2111A7. Okay, so all right, so that's done. What else do I do? Well, I will change this in here. I will follow the same idea. So the existing property add, 10 L'Oreal Street is well, we gotta see what it is. I have no idea what it is, so we're gonna find it. 10 L'Oreal Street, Sagas, Mass. One thing I do, you just write property card, and sometimes it just finds it, and it's great. If it doesn't, I mean Zillow has a good thing. But the other thing you could do, this is in the North Shore area, which is where we are. So they have this website called Patriots, I don't know, Assessors Database, I think it is. And if you were, well, that's another one. Is this one, I think. Yeah, that looks right. Oh, this is for the town of Sudbury, but there is one for every town. Saugus, Mass. Yeah, that works. So that's for Saugus. And then I'm gonna search by address. So street name, it will be L'Oreal. What was the name? Yeah, it was right in there, right? La U Del. Yeah, and it will be 10, which is this one right here. And it gives me like all of the information about that property. So it's a cape. So you can just click on the parcel one and it gives you the information. This is what I'm gonna use later on to create my massing of this existing house. But for the purpose of this, what are we doing? So we're saying the 16 property at 7 L'Oreal Street is a single family residential, which you get from here. It says it right there. Single family residential. And it's a one story basically. So it's a single story. It's a one story wood frame structure. The existing residence is approximately, I don't know what the height is. Actually, I'm lying. I can find it right here. It should say the height, but honestly, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. So it's approximately, I would say, so it's 10 feet tall plate, let's say, and then a ridge. I don't know. Let's just throw in 20 and plus or minus. I'm gonna verify all of this later on anyway. Plus or minus. I like to put plus or minus. And it encompasses what's the square foot. Well, the square foot is actually being given to you right there. I'm realizing this video is gonna be long, so what do we have? What's the square footage? The square footage of this house is, sometimes it's easier if you actually print. It says like print the property card, summary record, that one right there. It's easier. So what's the square footage? Total value, land use, building value, sale price, land size. Okay, what is the square footage of this house? 1600 square feet. 1600 square feet. And the current use for the property is single family residential. The renovation, well, there's not a renovation. I would say the project includes the addition of a new one-car detached garage. Detached because it's disconnected from the actual property, from the actual building. Other things I do, sometimes we just throw in a picture of the property there. This needs to be updated, so I delete that one and I will go to Google Earth. And I'll find 10 L'Oreal Street, Saugus. Okay, and then after I do that, I'm gonna go to the map. Typically I just do the earth like this, and I like to show a little context of where this is located, so they know it's between Clifton Street and Lincoln Avenue. And I try to make it like look the square I'm making. I'm using the snipping tool because I want to make sure that it fits within where it's gonna go. And I put it in the desktop for now, so it's gonna say aerial. Okay, done. Then I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna find my aerial. Okay, I'm gonna dump it right in and drag it. I like to just grab that corner right here and make it so that it fits this corner, and then I go to the scale right here, this square piece, and I click it so that it goes like that. Unfortunately, it should be more rectangle, so to be honest, I'm gonna redo it so that it's at more of a rectangle than It's preference of mine. So I'm gonna grab it so that it's more like this, so that it just doesn't look silly on the page. So Arial 2, because I'm gonna delete that right after I do it. So I'm gonna grab it from here, drop it right in. Same steps. Whatever that corner, make it that fits that corner. Scale this corner, scale this corner, and make it so that it hits that piece. Now I don't like that white space, so what I'm gonna do, I want to find the center line of my photo, and I'm gonna try to find the center line of that line. Center line, and now we have space in each side. Then I'm gonna redraw these lines. Bring them to the front, by the way, because they were like, I guess they went to the back, I think. I mean, I don't see them for some reason. Oh yeah, there. So, and I'll redraw it. So sometimes I actually just grab that guy, get it out of the way, select it, say create similar, and then draw another one. Alright, and then I delete these right here. Create similar, the shortcut for it is CS. I love create similar, it's very good, very useful. So project location, great, done. So we're pretty much done here. This permit set description that you see here, the description, it's irrelevant at this point, but later on you will have a permit set revision. So keep in mind you're gonna have to fix that later. Alright, so then we go into the next step. So on the title block, on the T101, what things are gonna be, what elements are gonna be relevant. So most of these things are gonna be irrelevant. So the American with disability is not gonna apply for this single family. The mechanical is just a garage, so it's not gonna apply for that garage. The life safety, maybe I'll leave it. Life safety is always good. Energy, I doubt it. It's not an inhabitable space. So the building, I would probably not do the building either. So you probably end up with something like these. And I'm dragging it up, and I'm using shift up so that it's straight. I don't like it when people just drag it and it's not perfect, because somebody already went through the job of actually making this thing align nicely. So I would do that. You know, I mean, if you want to get it pretty, you can just do a line here too, so it looks nice. Done. And then DEF, get it out. This guy. So this guy is gonna need to be updated. One thing I do, as I'm working, I don't like to forget things like this. So what I would do is I would literally draw a cloud, knowing that that needs to be fixed. And you go to annotate revision cloud, and then you draw a cloud that I know that needs to be fixed. I've never liked when my principals would correct me on something I knew was wrong. That makes me feel like, well, I knew it was wrong, I just never got to it, right? So, but I gotta let them know, hey, listen, I'm gonna fix this later. You know, sorry about that. And that's it, you know. So, again, and I'm cleaning out all of this stuff, so it's good, it's good. So we'll go back to that zoning report piece, which is not that difficult to go to. I actually have a whole session on our YouTube channel as to how to do a zoning review for a project. A quick, you know, simple zoning review. So we're not gonna go through that right now. So what else do I need? Well, we don't deal with the life safety just yet. We're not gonna deal with much. One thing we will do is work on the existing, and so we have this Revit template that's organized in existing, demo, and proposed. You're gonna be working on the ground level floor plan for the existing, and you're gonna set up what the existing is gonna be. I would say let's start by doing a massing of what the house is like, the existing house is like, and then we'll deal with the rest. So where are we gonna get information about the existing house? Well, simple. I already told you that there is a property card that we just looked up. So by the way, this is a nice Zillow comes in handy for these things too, because you can see it, you can see pictures of what it looks like and things like that. Not all of the pictures are showing up for some reason, I don't know why, but that's good. So but this is a property card. If you do print, I think, yeah, as a PDF, I think it gives you I always save this anyway under the project. So I will go 2021. I'll find the project folder. Where is it? Low here. So I guess I will do design, and I'll put that under code analysis, because most of the time I use that as part of the code analysis. Now I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna save this image, this little image. You see, when I clicked it, it prints it like that. I guess I can just, what do I do? Well, I guess I'm just gonna do my snipping tool. Snipping tool comes in handy for these things. And then I'm gonna save it. I'm probably gonna go to the same folder where I saved my previous property card, unofficial property card. And then so here we are. So this is I guess footprint. All right, so that's that. Other things I like to do, well, I'm gonna leave this open here, but I like to actually also understand what it is that I'm doing, you know, in general, like what is it that I'm doing. I'm gonna minimize this guy, if I can. I don't know if I can. How do I minimize it? So of course Revit 2020 is a different animal for me because I don't use it as much, but yeah, so maybe I can minimize. I don't know. So double click on it maybe. Well, long story short, I would like to familiarize myself with what the project is about, meaning like what do I have for information that has been provided to me. So I go to record, files in, client, and we look, there's a survey. I'm gonna be needing that survey. So what do I have in here? Well, the survey gives me a pretty good idea of what the property lines are, what the property is like, and so forth. This is great. This is great. So I have my tricks. I like to turn this into a CAD file if possible, or a vector. There are multiple ways that you can turn this into a vector, by the way. I'm realizing this is gonna get long, but I do want to teach people how to do it. So if you open Illustrator and you have this looks like a legit PDF. In fact, even the stamp looks like it was a digital stamp. It wasn't even a real one. So it means that this is a vector-based document. All right. So on that note, I could, because it's a vector-based and Illustrator deals with vector lines, I could actually import this into Illustrator and then export it as a CAD file. I'm gonna have to remember that I'm teaching this tool here, so that if anybody ever needs to do that, they can do it. So I'm waiting for Illustrator to open. It's taking its sweet time, but in the meantime, you know, I look at it. So what we're gonna be doing, so we have our street here, we have this driveway, and I guess this driveway is gonna have to continue. And look, they already have the proposed detached garage, and it's gonna be 12 by 20. We're gonna make it 12 by 20. So what do we do? So we're gonna grab that plot plan. I'm gonna drop it right into our Illustrator folder, Illustrator document. And fingers crossed it's that smart vector-based PDF. If not, then we're gonna have to go through the good old process of tracing it and just drawing right on top of it. It's easy enough anyway. But how do we know if it's vector-based? Well, if when I click on it, things start getting highlighted like that, it means it's vector based. So capiche, we're good, because that's a line, right? So what do we do with this? Well, we go to File, Export, Export As, and most people don't pay attention, but there is a CAD version of here. There is a CAD. So, and then I'm gonna say 2021 06 15 export it CAD. I put things like by DF. DF is that one for tuna. That I did that was not sent to us by the client. So it does mean we gotta be careful with it. It does mean we have to pay special attention to it. Here I don't get too crazy about it because I'm gonna scale it after I bring it as a PDF anyway. I mean, after I bring it as an import. So what do I do now? So I already created a CAD version of this. Hopefully it works. Sometimes I inspect it in CAD, sometimes I don't. But I'm not gonna inspect it this time around. I'm just gonna try to drop it right in. So I'm gonna bring it right here. I use the existing ground floor to create sometimes the site plan, but I guess we do have a proposed. Do we have a site plan? Oh, I don't. We don't, right? I don't see one. So I'll duplicate this one and say existing site plan. Existing site plan. And I'll delete all that. I just duplicated it by right clicking on it, and I did it with detailing, although there was not any detailing in it. It doesn't necessarily matter. Then I'm gonna and I'm drawing on existing face. I will make sure that you are on existing face when you're drawing things for the existing, and then I'm gonna say import CAD. I like to copy my path. I already have my path pre-copied, so I'm gonna say enter. It finds it. This is very important, saying current view. If you don't say current view, it's gonna throw that floor plan on 3D throughout all of it. So let's test it. So I'm gonna just select it and bring it in. By the way, it came tiny, of course, because I didn't scale it or anything like that. So you wouldn't see it unless you turn thin lines right here. You see it after you turn thin lines. But you know what? Let me scale it. So unpin it. How do we scale it? Well, we just did it with a picture. It's pretty much the same idea. So you're gonna grab that corner and that corner, and you're gonna type 50 feet because that's what it is. All right, and ta-da! You have it. Now, if you go to 3D view, it is there as a 3D element because we didn't say current view only. It brought us to 3D. I don't like to do that. That clusters the model a whole lot. It gets full of, it just gets very messy. I don't like messy stuff. So and plus it starts showing up on every single view that you've ever done. Like literally, quite frankly, like if I go to any view, this stuff, it's somewhere hanging in there. I'm telling you, it's not showing up, but I promise you it is somewhere in there. Let me see, center, zoom all to fit. It's making me look bad. Oh, because that's the basement. So yeah, there you go. So it's on the proposed floor plan. Like it's everywhere. Existing site plan, of course, has it, but I don't like it. What do we do? Undo, undo, undo. Okay, so I already undid enough. So I'm gonna go back, import CAD, select it, say current view only. It's auto detecting the scale. I don't care about the scale. I'm gonna scale it anyway, so don't worry about it. Right, so I see it. Sometimes it's hard to find it. Sometimes it throws it like all the way to China, like all the way to Dubai, and you're like, I don't know where that is. So you have to like know that will happen and just be aware of it. And we're gonna do the scale back again. So we go here. By the way, this little things indicate where the property corners are. That's what that means, property boundaries. Alright, so we go here, we have that guy there, right, perfect. So what do I do with it? So I like, because our Revit model is set up around this element, so I like to grab this guy and set it up so that it's around that element. Alright, close enough to that element, because then everything's gonna be centered around that. Okay. Another thing I like to do, I like to make sure that this guy is orthogonal in relationship to my building. So my building is that, so I'm gonna do a line which is AL, and I'm gonna pick that line and pick that line and just make sure that this is a line. Now the building itself is not orthogonal, so that's a problem. So I like to make sure that, for instance, this is where my addition is gonna go. That needs to be perfectly straight. Alright, and this is right now perfectly straight, so that's great. In relationship to the street, they did it perfectly straight. I cannot stress how important this is. It's so important. I mean, it's so important to keep your. I typically always set it up so that the street's down like that, or the north is up, whichever is better. But the street, I guess, works better. North is actually on this direction in this case. And then I guess because this existing is not orthogonal, that doesn't matter. So I'm gonna just match it. So I'm gonna just literally match that building. I'm teaching it all today, I guess. So these lines like that, like with the diagonal, means it's an existing footprint of a building that we're showing. You know, just so that if you know how to read it. So, and I'm just matching this thing really. I'm gonna match the floor. Now that this doesn't matter, like not at all. Like it really doesn't matter. We're not dealing with the existing. We're not doing anything to the existing, but at least make it look like what the surveyor did. Unless there was like an attachment between the buildings or a design connection between the buildings, there's nothing. This is not gonna have any relationship whatsoever. So you could have, if you wanted to, literally done a field region and call it a day with peak lines. And like, and I mean, match, of course, match the look and, you know, do another field region and match the deck. Okay. Okay, that's great. I mean, the same for all the lines. Or you can just literally just leave it as it is there. That's fine. Another thing too, that most people don't do it here at the office, but they should know that this is doable, is that, well, we don't really care about Mr. Scott Serrato here. We don't care about any of that stuff right now. Like, that's not important. So you could have literally cleaned this guy up and just export what you want, and then you didn't have to model that whole stuff. You just clean it up. Clean it up. Well, I mean, if you want the north arrow, that's pretty nice. But no, don't worry about it. Doesn't matter. And I mean, then you could have just changed the artboard again to make it so that it's nice and clean. All right. You see, and then you can export that. Export that as a CAD file. I do want people to do this, so I'm gonna make it required. Like whenever you have a survey that was done by us, which we have some people that do the surveys, I want to make it so it's cleaned version. All right, so that's the clean version. I don't care again about the scale. That doesn't matter to me because that saves us a lot of time and energy. Like I don't have to do this. Now there's another way to, like if you didn't clean it in Illustrator, you didn't have access to Illustrator, you could literally select this element and explode it. If you go through here, it says explode. You can do a partial explode or a full explode. If you partially explode it, check what happens. My Revit may crash or may not. No, it's gonna do it. So what it does is really that it embeds the vector file into your Revit model. So check what happened. Check it out. So now it really made all of these elements into embedded elements within your Revit file. Now there are good things about it and bad things about it. Why are the bad things about it? Well, the bad things about it is that then if you say detail line, you're gonna start seeing a bunch of lines that show up in our model that we didn't necessarily make or add, because all of these lines that are here are not part of our lines. Like it's layers from Revit, from CAD, and it starts getting super messy. So sometimes I request people not to do the exploding. I rather you just embed it, clean it out of Illustrator and bring it right in. Okay. Now this is a tool. You could use that tool, and it comes in handy. One thing I would also do, if I was to explode it, I would actually group it after I explode it, so that's one single group. Now I'm gonna undo, Okay. All right. So I'm going to, I guess, delete this guy and import it again because I'm gonna bring the cleaned up version of this cat file. It's just gonna save time and effort from us. Okay, again, just select current view only. Good. It brought it in. We cannot see it. Where is it? Where is it? It was a tiny little one right here. So we're gonna do the same scale again. So scale here to here, 50 feet. I do like sometimes to verify. So let's say I do a DI dimension from this point to this point. Yep, that is about right. By the way, you see this is 27.8 inches and this is 27.7. These are different things. This is decimal feet and this is feet and inches. So many people that come to Flow are from different countries and different places and they don't understand decimal inches and decimal feet. I will explain that on another video. I guess since we're here, why not? So the way you do it is basically decimal feet are like if you grab this scale, right? 1 foot equals 12 inches. So if you divide, 12 inches divided by 12 equals 1. So it's 1 foot. So if you have 8 inches and you divide it by 12, that's 0.6 feet. So that's a decimal feet. So let's say you have something that's 2 feet, which is 24 inches. 24 inches divided by 12 equals 2 feet. But let me do it with something weird. Let's say it's 3 foot 6. Something's 3 foot 6. So 3 foot 6. So 3 foot 6 is 3 point. So 6 divided by 12. 3.5. 3.5 feet equals 3 foot 6. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Which is basically 3 feet and half of an inch.
Yeah, so always divide the inch by 12. Always divide the inch by 12. If you have something that's, 4 inches, so 4 divided by 12, so it will be 0.3 feet. 3333, but yeah, okay? So just always remember that, all right? And that's how you do it. All right, so we have our cleaned up version of this. This is gorgeous. We're going to grab that corner from here. And we're going to drop it right into this corner. Of course, we're going to make sure this thing is straight, which should be. So I just drew a straight line. And I'm making sure, yeah, they are straight. So this is good. This is good. So we have our side plan. I'm going to delete this elevation marker because there's nothing to be elevated right now. I'm not doing anything else. And one thing I like to do, I like to pin the survey. Pin the survey. Very important. Okay. So let's verify that our dimensions are correct. So from here to here it should be 50 feet. That's correct. So I've done my scaling pretty well. And I guess I could literally come into my... I'm going to do an existing side plan. Drop it right in. Boom. Here you go. Existing side plans right there. Looks good. You could actually maybe not even have the existing version. You can get away with just the proposed. Drag the existing side plan. And honestly, we're not doing an existing. This is going to be the proposed. One thing. So views have the name they have been assigned a birth. Like your name is Laura and that's your name right there, but you might want to be called like Stephanie. So I always use this metaphor. So that's the name you were assigned. You can never change the name you were assigned. I don't care about whether you want to be called Virginia. As far as I know, it doesn't matter. You were assigned a name. So but you could have an ID or you could call yourself on Instagram whichever name you want. So Instagram in this case will be this view title. This is a world where you want to be called whatever you want to be called. So to make this point, you can select the view, and when you select the view, it has different names: the view name and the view on title sheet. the view on sheet, or the view on Instagram, or the view on Facebook, or the view whatever. So this one I want to call it existing site plan. Actually, proposed site. And you're like, well, what's the difference between the one at the top and the one at the bottom? Well, simple. The one at the top is organized by numbers in relationship to the other sheets so that they don't just start moving around. By the way, sometimes you have to mess with pasting this a few times and then it changes it. Boom. Why? This order. I don't want to be changing the numbers. This is how I like my order to be. Basements are 00, existing ground floor is 01, existing proposed plan, I guess it could be 01, second floor 02s, and then, you know, so forth and so on. Okay? So we have that in there. Honestly, I think this is not going to just be a proposed site plan. This is going to be, you know, proposed plans in general. We may not even have an actual, like, sheet for the floor plans like that. It just doesn't make sense. Now, if you're going to do that, make sure that these things do make it into this, which does not have it. So what do you do? Well, you could open this view, open this the plus sign here, and then drop these guys in here. Drag this guy in here. Drag this guy in here. Because you don't want to just be messing with sheets and losing important information within them. So this sheet now is useless. We don't need it. Now, I don't like, these things don't need scale. They're not a building, so they don't need scale. So I'm going to just I want to hide them. So I just go here and say no title. No title. No title. Okay. And of course, I like to make him look right. You know, like, much as possible, grab that corner and make it align with that corner. Much as possible, grab that corner. Make it align with that corner. If it's not perfect, that's okay, but at least you tried. As much as possible, grab this corner and align it with that corner. And that starts looking kind of more deliberate. And in fact, you could actually make this bigger. You know, there you go, nice and pretty. Of course, you probably will want to move these guys. And it looks a lot nicer. This scale is wrong right now. It's like, well, actually, it's good. 1/8. If we actually did the drawing in 1/8, but I don't think we're gonna be doing it 1/8. But that's that. That's great. Okay, so we have that in here. Geez, this is all just setting up the model. Like, we haven't even done the building. Oh my goodness. All right, so what do I like to do? Well, one thing I like to do is, this is where I'm gonna work, this area right here. So I like to come in here and do a little call out of this area. Boop. Where the garage is gonna be. You know, and then I'm gonna say, I'm gonna call that, it's gonna be a new construction. If you have this selected, well, my bad. I don't want to do it. So this is gonna be the new. This is gonna be a new floor plan. So I was using it as an existing, but we're not doing anything right now. I'm not drawing the existing building anymore. So I'm gonna call this new. Okay, and because I called it new, the elevation markers I had already created. I gotta close this guy. Where do I get rid of it? This guy. I need to get it out of here because it's taking a lot of real estate from me. Get out of here. I don't need you right now. Oh, is there a way of minimizing it? Oh, of course I opened all the sheets I had open. That's WT. If you do WT, it's called window tile. It opens all of the things that you have open, which is not helpful right now. But there's another. Okay, so let me just square things away. Let's just get rid of these guys. I don't need him. Okay, so I'm just deleting. I'm just closing stuff right now. Very quickly. Okay. I thought it would be done by now with this model, but you know, I'm explaining it and doing it. It's different. If I was just doing it, it would be different. So let me just close this guy. But of course, all of us architects and designers think that we can do things faster than we actually can.
Yeah.
All right, so what do? I'm just gonna move it to my other screen. Yeah, there you go. So before they didn't allow you to do that. That's Revit 2020 for you right there. Before in 2018, you didn't have the opportunity to drag things around from one screen to the other. So it could be cheating. I could be looking at something on the other side while I'm talking to you. So, all right. So because I changed the facing, then all this dirty stuff, ugly stuff showed up. Well, it's not really ugly stuff. You're going to be needing sections eventually. So drag it on the right place, because you're going to be cutting a section there, and you're going to be cutting a section there. Now, you don't want to see it on the site plan. You don't see section cuts on site plans, okay? There may be an occasion in which you would, but right now, just trust me on this one. You won't want to see it. So, but I would drag them where they go, so that at least they're referring to the right stuff. And I'll explain that later. Drag them where they go, because they're going to be looking at that garage, right? And then delete this one. I don't know why we have an extra one, so I'll delete it. And then I hide it by category, because you don't need any of these. Category hides all of the sort of annotated elements that have to do with sections. Then it will hide, if I did this one, it's going to hide all of the elevations at once. So all of the elevation categories, which is actually being driven by the template, like the view template and things like that. But I'll explain that in another video too. So that's being hidden. That looks clean. I like it. I got no problems with it. I do have one problem. We do need to create a new driveway that goes all the way through. So then this is not showing that new driveway, but we're gonna do it later. So why don't we go into our new plan? So we created a call out right here, proposed site plan, but we're gonna call that one proposed floor plan. Proposed garage floor plan, and we're not gonna call it call out. Proposed garage floor plan. Great. And then we're gonna drag that guy here and we're gonna drop it right in here. Now it doesn't show anything. Why? Because there's nothing being drawn already. There's nothing in here. This is just a 2D dummy thing. If it was a 3D, remember when I said not current view, it would have shown something. So long story short, it's not showing anything, but I am setting up my place for this, right? I'm setting up, where things are gonna go. And again, of course, this is like 01 proposed garage floor plan. We don't want it to be 01, so we're gonna copy that text, go into the name, remember that, and then title on sheet is gonna be proposed garage floor plan, and then apply. All right. So we're setting things up. We've still not even drawn a wall or a roof. This is what you're here for. You're like, what am I doing? Really, please. So I'll show you. So first things first. What is this thing gonna be made out of? How big it is? And this is already being dictated. It's gonna be a 12 by 20. We already got that. No problem. I like to go to my little sketch pad at this point. Oh, you can't see it. And you can't see it. Well, it's okay. And sketch what I think this thing's gonna be. And basically, visualize what this thing's gonna be. Now, if you're using our 4-step process, you would know what this looks like. But this client didn't give us anything. So I'm gonna use this as an inspiration for what this thing should look like. All right. But I also like to think about wall, like what wall type is it gonna be, how is it gonna be. So typically, garages in New England are like a slab on grade. Let me see how I can explain that to you. So typically garages are like this. Like they don't have a basement. They have a concrete slab and they have a concrete footing, a frost wall they call these ones. And that's it, right? And typically they're like out of 2x4s. Like they don't even have like sophisticated walls or anything like that. This one is not even insulated right now, but I think I'm gonna do a little nicer than that. So long story short, I'm gonna borrow this wall that I used for this one because that wall was well done. So it has 1/2 inch of siding, 1/2 inch of SIPS sheeting, and 5.5 inches stud, and a 5 of an inch gypsum wallboard. That's pretty nice. That's good. These are the makeup of that wall. Those are the layers of that wall. Okay, so I think that's okay. So we're gonna use that. In fact, the gypsum should not be 5/8. It should be half an inch, because for residential purposes we don't use 5/8. Well, I correct myself. If it is a fire rated condition or for a particular reason it needs to be strong, you will use 5/8. So
what was the name that you gave to the walls? You said that in New England they're normally made out of what?
So half an inch siding, half an inch zip sheeting, 5.5 inch stud. So these are the ways you would do the wall.
Okay.
We already have a wall like that. So like in fact, I'm like going in this model of this other project, but we already have a wall. So you're gonna look for a wall that will have the typical construction. Now this is another session, and I'm already 50 minutes into this, so I could have another session into walls and how to make walls and all that stuff. But for now, just bear with me. We're gonna be using a wall that, in fact, if you go to a Revit template and you write WA wall, you can find it here. It's pretty easy to find. So it will be, you could do it with there's a bunch of walls we don't need. But look, so the exterior half an inch siding, 1/8 of an inch zips sheeting, 2x4 wood stud, 5 of an inch. That's okay. You could do that. You could do any of these two right here. You could do this one at 1/2 inch siding, 1/5 of an inch zip sheeting, 2x6 wood stud. That would also work. You could do this 3/4 of an inch plywood, 2x6 wood stud. I mean, those are all pretty good. You could use any of those. But I want to promote zip sheeting for a reason, and we'll explain that in another session. But this one, 2x6, pretty good. We'll do that. All right, so I select my wall, and I'm not caring so much about the specifically of how it's been drawn, or I'm just drawing it within this box. Okay, drawing it within my box. These dimensions were prescribed by the surveyor, by the client already. All right, and we have our wall right here. These guys don't matter. Don't worry about them for now. One thing I would do though is, you could literally grab. So we have our box for our garage already. The door is gonna be right here. We're gonna be having a pitched roof. There are things that we have to set up. I like to just draw and then I'll clean. I don't clean. I like to draw and clean. So I'll go through all the things later. So I'm gonna draw my concrete pad. So it's gonna be architecture, floor architectural, and you're gonna find a concrete. Probably it's gonna be like 4-inch slab, concrete 4-inch slab, and then you're gonna draw it. Don't worry about it for now, about all the specifics. Just draw it. We'll draw it within this, and we'll later explain where it goes. It doesn't really go right there, but we'll explain it. So that's that. So that's already drawn. So we have our concrete pad. I mean, since we have that model here, so I could probably start stealing things from there. Not stealing. I don't like stealing. I'm gonna borrow some things. So we're gonna grab. I'll go in 3D and start populating my model here. This is throwing me off, so I'm literally just gonna delete all this stuff. It's just confusing me for now. I like to see what I care about. Like, I don't like to see things I don't care about. So I'm deleting all this stuff for now. Okay, so that's all deleted. I'm actually not gonna delete it. Well, I'm gonna align the foundation with this. This stuff doesn't matter. Like, I'm already wasting time. That doesn't matter. That stuff we're not gonna see it. So I'm gonna borrow my door, throw it right in. I just copied it from one model and pasted it from the other. Jeez, this is pretty tight. Well, that's it. So that's our garage. I'm gonna borrow this roof. You see it right here. I'm gonna copy it And I'm gonna, now you don't need to copy it like that. I'm doing it because I have it there and I don't want to think about it much. So that's there already. Great. It's floating. I don't need it. I just need it because it's a good assembly. Like he already has the things I want, right? So, but I will explain that later. I'm gonna grab a floor also, and that floor is really gonna be for like the attic space on this garage, like on this section. You see it? I'm gonna grab a car. It's fun to have a car there. That's good. So I don't know where it went. I don't see it. I really don't see it. Did I actually paste it?
Yeah, I was having the same trouble when I was in the garage and trying to show it on 3D. It was just not showing on 3D.
Well, I know why. I can probably. Yeah, I think this guy does not show in 3D, does it? Let's go in 3D on this thing. Yeah.
Is it a family?
Yeah. It's a weird one. It's just a graphic one. It doesn't really show, which is good because sometimes I don't want to see it. So that's great. That's great. He exists, but he doesn't get seen. So long story short, so I have that. You know what else I'm gonna grab? I'm gonna need a frost wall like this guy. You can just literally just pick it like that. We'll deal with the details later. We'll deal with all this stuff later. Alright. I like to align him. So align and lock him. So lock. So that they move together. Lock. Lock. So like what I mean is like if I move one, they all move together. I'm gonna put my roof in place. So I'm gonna just literally grab my roof and align it with the walls. The walls. 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 I'll give it like an 8-inch overhand. That's okay. Okay, great. So it's kind of where it needs to go. I'll attach him. That's okay. So select, attach to roof. Select, attach to roof. Okay, select, attach to roof. Alright, so that's starting to take, shape. I'll put my floor inside the building. Doesn't matter for now. I'm just gonna draw it right there. And I'll delete it. Doesn't matter for now. I'll fix all of that stuff later. And the floor, of course, is not even where it needs to be. It's like on the first floor. So I'm gonna drag it up. We'll deal with that later. It's just there falling. It looks horrible, but we'll fix it. What else? You know what? I'm gonna steal a few windows. They have some pretty nice components there, so I'm gonna steal that window. You don't need to steal things from other projects unless you've done it before, because we do have like a very nice series of families and things like that. So but this happened to have that very like romantic New England look to it. All of these elements, so I'm gonna match it. All right, so that's that. All right, so we've basically done our box for what our garage is gonna be like. I'm probably gonna borrow also like a door, a little door will do. I don't know if the client asked for this door or anything. I don't really know the details. But I'm gonna put a door right here. It kind of makes sense to have a door like right there. It's okay if it's floating for now. We'll fix it later. Now I get very picky, so I want the trim of this thing to actually be. I'll change the material and make it so that it's white. But long story short, we're done here basically. So not really. So we're gonna do so we already this thing is already populating our floor plan. as you can see. But where isn't it showing up in here? Well, I'll tell you why. Facing of this view is showing existing, but we should be showing new, previous plus new. In this case, it will be just show complete. That's because there's nothing new existing, and you know that starts showing up our stuff in here. Our footings are not right, of course. They have to. There's a lot of stuff. So on that note, let me get this guy out of the way so that we can see our view a little bit better. Well, no, hold on. So I want you to understand about these things, like heights. You know, where we're gonna put our floor at the top, where we're gonna put our top plate. These guys are called top plate. Like, we have to think about that stuff, right? So I want you to think about that stuff. So I'm gonna, from here, I'll clean up my sections. Great. I don't like him going through. I like him to end right there. I want him to just like right there. Right there. My elevations, I want to see them. Where are they? Where are my other elevation markers? I don't see them. So I don't know where they went. Oh yeah, they're right there. They're just flying. So I just opened this guy up, and they show up after you see them. Oh look, my car. So I'll put my car right here. Yeah, you know, it would take a lot of work to park it backed up like that. You know, it's like wow. So it's just like that. All right, so we go here, and make sure my elevations look clean, nice and clean. This is a 1/4 of an inch, which is a good dimension. Okay, so that's that guy. That's that guy. Check how it's showing up in there. You see it? Nice. So I'm gonna hide the trim, hide that stuff. Move this guy here. So, and then, you know, I like to see that I'm making progress, which is one of the great things of Revit. I am actually making progress because I could then say, you know, I probably could put the roof plan here too. So this is not gonna be called roof plan. This is gonna be called oh Dios santo. We have all these details in here. We're gonna have to get them out. Would they fit in the other sheet? Maybe, maybe not. Well, let's do it. So general roof details. Yeah, that's gonna be a lot. And then this other roof detail. We'll see what's relevant and what's not, and then we'll deal with it. General contractor notes, I think we already have it. General notes, I think we haven't. Alright, so from there, there's nothing else we will need. So I'm gonna call this exterior elevation. Actually, no, just delete them, because we already have exterior elevation. Alright, and then I'm gonna say elevations and sections. Elevation and sections. Alright, and that's that. Oh, of course, I was typing on the number, so I just escaped, and it didn't change the number. It's here. Alright, so then I'm gonna go to my elevations, and I'm literally gonna drag him and drop him. You I guess we may now be able to get the elevations and sections together. Maybe, maybe not. No, I don't think so, actually, now that I think about it. So so there is this bunch of levels that we have in here, by the way. These levels don't matter right now just yet because they haven't been established. So they were established for our previous project, but they're not relevant to this project right now, okay? So we'll have to fix them. And of course they're like floating all the way back there because that's where our other model was before, remember? So we're gonna just drag him here, drag him in here. I would actually make him, yeah. You know, the section, I'm gonna clean it up as much as possible. I'm gonna clean up the crop view so that's like nice and tight.
Wait, how did you crop that rectangle?
The view. So the view right now has a size you don't see, but if you turn this on right here at the bottom, you could see it, and you can just crop it.
Okay.
And then you turn it back off.
Okay.
So we're gonna drag this guy here, and this guy here, and then this section. I'm gonna drag it up, clean it up. Later on, I mean, we're gonna, and I also like them to align. So you see, when you drag it, it pins together. So now they're aligned. Sometimes I go, you know, I go pretty nuts. Like one thing I like to do sometimes is literally hide those guys and grab this guy and extend it because they're related. They should be related, and they look a lot nicer like that. That's that. Okay, so we got that guy. Oh, of course, I have to move them both together so that they're aligned. So that's so there's a lot of cleanup that needs to be done right now. Really, that's what needs to be done at this point. A whole lot of cleanup. So this is not even showing my roof. What's going on in here? This is not even my building. Oh yeah, it's showing like a view like beyond my building. Like, you see the front one? It's not there. You see? It's looking like back there. So you gotta move it here. I mean, this stuff you pick up after you like work on projects for a while. You're gonna see it. You're gonna be like, what's going on? Something's just not right. So like another thing, like the roof wasn't showing up before in one of them. So this one is showing it up. This one is showing it up. Okay. This one. Okay. If you go to, and then I'm gonna crop it again. If you go to our elevations and sections, like that's already now clean. Like it looks right. So I would do the same with this one, where I would actually make him align. And maybe, you know, drag this guy here. And drag this guy through. And then hide these guys here. This head, I want to make it a little nicer. So this wouldn't be a second level because there's not a second level. We're gonna call this top plate. And the top plate, we want it to be at 10 feet. I'll explain later what that means. Okay. That's clean. That's clean. On this section, let's just clean up this head. Like if you grab it and just like point on that, it will align. That. And I want the text to align. I mean, you could. It looks like one crop is really huge, so we will make it smaller. That's okay. Here. All right. So this is pretty clean overall. We'll have to deal with some things that we probably are gonna need to do in section. Like we're gonna need real section. So we don't have stairs. You're out. We don't have any of these decks. We're out. We don't have that detail. We're out. Wow. We do keep some of these guys. So this exterior one we're gonna keep. Interior one, we're not gonna have any interior partitions, so we're out. Fire separation, no. I like people when they clean things up. Don't have things that don't matter, because people don't like to see that. So that's that, you know, and clean it, you know, organize it, like make sense of this stuff. Alright, so this is not just gonna be like our schedule, this is actually gonna be our sections too. And this guy is just not gonna be our sections. This is just gonna be elevations. Alright, so then we're gonna grab our sections and we're gonna go to section. You're gonna drag 1, 2, and I got 2. Another thing I want you to do is that you're gonna be doing a wall section, typical wall section. So you just call it out, do this guy. Right now it doesn't have any reference, doesn't have anything, but it will make sense later. Then of course we're gonna fix our big problem. Our foundations are not where they're supposed to go. They're like floating outside. So how are the foundations supposed to go? Well, they are supposed to go first there, and they're supposed to go aligned with the inside of the gypsum wallboard, or the inside face of the stud. I will explain that later. No, my bad. Wrong. They're supposed to be. Actually, can you tell me what's wrong with this one now that you see it? Because I did it wrong.
That is not connecting with the one that is holding the floor.
Yeah, well, that's one thing, but that's not the case. So, is that if water was to hit this piece and ice, it would sit right in there and create a problem. You never want to have your foundation overhanging outside like that. They actually go inside like that. You see, that's how they go. The other thing is, you never want to have the foundations aligned with the grade. This has to actually go a little higher. How much higher? Well, I'll tell you later. But for now, let's just expose it a little bit like that. Okay? Why? Because it's illegal to have wood in contact with grade. All right? So I would say just for now do that. Alright, so we're gonna have this wall. Again, it's gonna align with the exterior face of sheathing. And it's gonna sit right there. And it's gonna, for now we'll deal with this part later, but so this is starting to get cleaned up. Quite frankly, very quickly we're making this thing looking more like $1,000,000. Alright, so we got that. That's great. Now I want to fix our basement level. We don't have a basement level, so we're gonna delete that altogether. Our top of footing, we're gonna delete that for now. Actually, no, you can leave it. So our top of footing has to align with the bottom of the foundation. So on that note, these guys are typically a foot like that. So I pin them, and then we're gonna do this, and I pin them with this wall so that they move with the wall, so that the wall moves with it. All right. So we're missing the footing. I'll show you what I mean by that. Well, let's clean all of them and then we'll see it again. So that's pretty cleaned up. This slab is wrong. We'll fix that later. But let's also fix this guy. If you do tab flips walls around, like the spacer, the space bar flips walls. My bad. All right. So if you do the space bar, that's what it does. Okay, so let's do this for now. Okay, so now at least we don't have the foundations floating around like that. So we're going to now add footings to this thing. So you go to architecture, actually structure, wall, right here, and then click on each one of the walls that you want it at, and it just does it for you. Alright, this stuff's starting to look like $1,000,000. why don't we do something fun? Why don't we throw in a tuple right in this so that we start getting a little context? So tuple, what we're gonna do, so I'm gonna go to architecture, no, actually massing and site, tuple, and I like to make the tuple the sides of my lot, even the same shape of my lot. Done. Now you want to hide it though. You don't want to have it on right here, okay? Because it was just hiding everything. But we have it right here. We got a problem now, which you wouldn't see it yet, but you're gonna see it in the section. We have the dirt going right through, so we need to do something called a pad, a building pad. You would do that on floor plan, and then on your floor plan, you're gonna come here and say building pad, and just draw a rectangle all around the inside of your space. And then if you go to your sections now you have this pad. I typically just hide it, but at least we don't have the dirt going right through into our space. Okay, so this is good. So far so good. We gotta make sure this floor is sitting on the top plate. He needs to sit on the top plate, literally sit on the top plate. So that's that. And then we're gonna fix this guy in floor plan real quick. Let's go to floor plan, because it shouldn't be flying above. Oh, let's go inside the floor plan. And then there, there. We'll fix this later, but I'm gonna probably leave it at this tonight, almost, Laura, and we'll continue on another session another time. I'm getting exhausted now, but we have, a pretty good looking garage so far. In general, it's doing what it needs to do. I'm gonna throw in a driveway. It will make me happy if I had a driveway. So let's just come in here and say massing inside. Sometimes I just do it as a sub region, and it's just gonna be drawn onto, like, let's say the proposed side plan, because I already have these guys. So I'm gonna just let's draw it a little more organically. So like we use some curved lines. So that's one. Actually, let's make it that big. And then we're gonna close it. Close it. So I'm gonna grab this guy and move it. Okay. And then that's that. And then that created a little path. Right now it doesn't show like a path, but you can select it, change the material to be asphalt, and it's gonna start looking a little nicer.
So for the garage that I'm doing, I need to add the foundation walls. Sorry, the foundation walls that you just showed me.
What is it?
For the garage that I'm doing, I'm gonna have to put the foundation walls below the ground.
I think so. Ask the person that you're working with, like Marcos, on the details of that. Asphalt. Side asphalt. Okay, that's great. Alright, so that's starting to look more like a nice set of drawings. Let me just close these things. I mean, you can begin to pop in dimensions on these. This is gonna all change, but I'm just showing it for now. You can just clean this guy up. I always like to make sure the ground line. So if I go to VG, if I type VG, and I go to topography, you can change the cut line to be a darker line. and you can change the pattern to be like a gray, and this starts looking a little bit better. The pattern, my bad, I changed the color of the actual line. So topo, that still can be black. What I need to change is the surface pattern, the cut pattern, to be gray. And that looks much cleaner like that. Screw section's not gonna cut through like that. This is gonna have to be a ground level. Is this guy ground level too? Yeah. So this starts looking nicer. And of course I'm gonna be like, building section in capital letters, building section 1. I copy that text, go here, paste it, building section 2, and then I select this guy and say, typical wall section. And then I would, find it, my typical wall section. I have to get out of the view, of course, to be able to drag it, and then paste it. And then I'm gonna make it a 3/4 of an inch. We have a template. This is more advanced, so you find a 3/4 of an inch template. It's called wall section 3/4 of an inch. You apply it, and it makes it look nice.
I got lost about how did you put that there.
It's okay. This is being recorded. You can watch it.
Okay.
So it's VG, visibility graphics. So I'm going to, that's advanced stuff, and it was right here, like right there, and then I found it. So right here.
No, not that one. How did you crop that view in specifically and put it in the sheet?
This section, it was here. I created that a while ago, and I went to my sections view and I drag it in here. It was just a call out I created. Remember I did this guy a while ago? And then that's this guy.
Okay.
You can watch this. You're gonna watch it and you're gonna be able to see it. But let me just so these things, there's a thing called frost wall, like you have to, this has to be certain level below grade. We can talk more about that later also. But for now, this is a good place to start. Like, then I have already kind of put all the elements I will need, so I start cleaning things up, going one by one. It's like, okay, well, I start doing my dimensions, and I'm gonna hide that wall below for now. So I started doing my dimensions. This is not showing my layers. I want to show like nice and clean, and I like to show everything that's new as gray. So the cut of this one's gonna have to be like a solid gray. Looks nice. If I'm gonna have a door, I immediately start like tagging my door, which is TG. And this
what is tagging?
TG. It's just a tag. It will populate into the schedule. I'll explain that. You can see that. And I will create a room name, so it will be RM room, and it's gonna be garage. And it's like 01, and then this might be door 01A, and this is gonna be door 01B. Dimensions, I'll always dimension to that interior layer right there of the stud. That's where you dimension. You don't dimension to the finish unless you say that you did. This one is to so that's one dimension there, and then another dimension here. Actually I did it to the outside. Oh yeah, to the inside. I wouldn't do it to the inside. I would actually do it to the outside for this particular one, because those are outside walls. Into that face. To that face. These dimensions are a little funny, but they have a meaning to them. I probably will have like 3 garage doors. I mean windows. They may all be like spaced equally. For spacing, that's okay. You just say equal. You may have these guys mirrored into the other side, and whatever that window is where the door is gonna go. That way there's a relationship between them. Some things like that I preference to, like they don't necessarily matter. But then just this stuff is starting to look like a real building. Then we need to do a roof plan. So I'd probably grab like a second floor plan, like, and turn that one into a roof plan from our template. Propose roof plan. Then you're gonna drag it in here. We'll clean it up. We'll see what details are relevant. I guess the only one that I would want to keep is probably that one. Maybe. So I'll delete them for now. But this also, it's is it a 1/4? That's 1/8. We need a 1/4. So we may have issues with how to organize this stuff. So on that note, I don't need any of these guys. I don't need any of these guys. Okay, so this should be a pretty good and robust section on how to do a project like this relatively quickly. I mean, within an hour or so, you could do this, something like this. And I need everybody to be at that level where they can do a project like this. Pretty straightforward. We haven't gotten into the details. We haven't gotten into all that stuff. That stuff comes later. I mean, that's the fun and cool stuff, right? Like populating these things so that they make sense with annotative components, such as 2x6. We have one of those here, and or 2 of those here. Then we have another one here. All this stuff that you're like, oh, I don't know how to do that. That's fun. I want to learn it. So that stuff, So we can populate all that stuff later. But overall, and it's not even that critical here. It's more critical here at this level. Right, because that's where we actually would see it. Things like that. These guys are actually always like these. We're gonna have a top plate that goes here and it's double. We'll explain all that stuff. It should be double. But we'll explain all of that stuff later. For now, this is a good session on how to put together a project like this. Overall, we have a nice and decent simple garage that after you start adding details and elements to it, it's gonna start looking like $1,000,000. You learn how to use Illustrator to export CAD files from it, which is super useful. You've learned how to do a bunch of things within a very short period of time today. So this is gonna take a while to digest. Thank you so much. We'll continue on the detailing section on this probably tomorrow. Have a good night.
Thank you.